I was not ready, man. Like, even though we know our boy Gojo gotta be okay because this is a flashback arc, you have to admit they bait you in hard with that first stab because he's like, oh, it's like, just a little safety pin going through yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. And then you end in such brutality. The way they get you to like drop your guard at multiple points to then sucker punch you at the end with this poor girl. Literally, I was... here's a clip from my live reaction. He's not forcing her to do anything she doesn't want, but she's gonna end up dying for sure. I don't see why her death would be like a changing point for him. Like, I'm literally wondering why Geto's like this. Like, how does he go bad? What causes him to maybe change? And as I'm like, ain't no way just her, because I'm like, yeah, she's gonna die probably like next episode, and the gun goes off. Like, what? Jesus, man. This episode shooketh me. Now, like I just said, full live reaction to this insanely good episode, if not heartbreaking episode, available on my Patreon if you would like to see the full uncut thoughts as I'm watching today's episode. This was something, and I have to really commend the brilliant bait and switch. So we've ended with a building exploding, we end with a kidnapping, and they so quickly resolve, like they're literally setting it up, like, hey, if you come with us, we can't guarantee your safety, if you get scared, we'll have to leave you behind. And the next scene is them at the beach. Like, what? And then we see the rescue mission. Gojo comes in, kicks the dude in the face, and then the rescue's over. It's like, okay, we know they're building into bad things. But the idea of letting us just drop our guard, even if you don't necessarily expect something immediately to happen once they're inside the barrier, you know it is gonna get bad. But the idea of starting the chaos with such an important character getting seemingly stabbed through the heart, to then being like, okay, well, he clearly is fine. Not only do we know the future plot point, but also the fact that, well, he's explained it in a pretty realistic way. The idea that Toji comes in being like, bro, the only one who's ever actually been able to sense me behind them was you as a kid, so I wore you down. I made sure you were absolutely at your worst so that my master assassin skills at work could cut you apart. And watching Gojo just destroy the field, make sure there's no like cover for him to hide behind, to then just the brutality. It's one thing seeing him get stabbed through the heart. It's a whole other beast when he gets stabbed in the throat and then he rips him. I was never expecting to see something so brutal happen to him. And the fact that not once, multiple times stabbed, I was really confused. Like, he had this big ass blade and then he fed it to his weird creature and then came out with this small blade. I was like, why would you do that? But now I'm starting to understand why, because the precision and the speed. He felt like Levi from Attack on Titan without the maneuver gear, how he was jumping around this place. The animation went in hard. And you have to admit, this is where you expect the craziness to end for an episode. You don't just show Gojo looking like that and not just say, okay, you can't top that. But the idea that you just see how on the same wavelength that Geto and Gojo actually are, like what happens to push them apart, and the fact that he's like, you don't have to go in there. If you don't want to, we will turn around. And the fact that you're having this heart to heart, yes, it's ominous at the start. Feels almost like she's being consumed by water, and over the course of it, you can tell we're building into her dying. Like, that felt all but given. But it's the way they handled it, because had we not had all the craziness that happened with Gojo, I think that moment would be easy to say, she about to get sniped. But because you're just on that high of being like, ain't no way you just did that, despite knowing him in the future, it's like, you still can't believe your eyes. And the fact that they then just, because he's holding it out, he has the biggest smile. At first, I was like, wait a second, did he kill her? Because he has this big smile, almost like he knew this was about to happen. But then you see the smile fade. And the fact that after hearing him like, yeah, Gojo, he dead, he pulls out the troops, man. Holy. I wasn't sure if it was this episode or next episode. I just remembered people last week in the comments saying either episode 3 or 4 was going to be insane. And I figured big battle for sure. And like I said, I assumed old Rico wasn't going to make it. I just wasn't expecting it like this. But the way they play with expectations is 10 out of 10. And I'm going to keep complimenting it every damn episode that it impresses me. And we're 3 for 3 right now. That OST is fire. There's almost like wind chime level OST direction. I mean, just every time you think you've heard enough, the piano score, some violin tracks, it just captures the mood, whether it's her at the aquarium, whether it's the action pieces, or it's just setting in motion the craziness. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 has me saying, what in the actual hell is going on? And I love that. I mean, clearly if you're a Gojo or Geto fan, this arc has you eating good because we get more of them, and I'm loving the new production style. I think it's so expressive. I mean, the fight scene kind of speaks for itself, but I even look at the beach scene when they're like goofing off in the water. Honestly, kind of gave me Chainsaw Man vibes in the way of Denji and Power sharing the same brain cell, because those two in the water kind of felt like that. But I love how they just go so expressive and silly with the animation, but it's just like when you watch characters walk in this season, they're always, the arms are moving more than you typically see in an anime scene. And the animation when it was Gojo and Toji, man, it was spectacular. I mean, just the way you start with this like very holy area, then it just, the blue and how everything around it almost is like a tornado, just removing everything. Oh, the bug-like creature, I was like, what in hell's paradise bullshit is this? It went in hard, and I think the brilliance of the brutality murder scene is how, rather than just simply going with this fast stab, you get all the details of him pulling down and the multiple stab wounds, and by the time you see what's left of our boy, you're asking, how the hell did he pull through from that? But most importantly, how the hell are we gonna deal with this assassin, bro? The fact that he was able to do that to such a powerful character. I mean, even though he's not at his absolute strongest, because, well, he's weakened for one, because he's been up for so long, he's been doing so much craziness, but also, obviously, years down the line, he becomes even more powerful than where he is right now. It doesn't change the fact that you don't expect that. You really don't. And oh my god, this is some of the most shocked I've ever been watching a single anime episode. Like, that took me by surprise. And I think the brilliance is how it's a double whammy. You start with stabbing Gojo, so you don't expect it to happen again, especially when he's like, oh, it's just like a little safety pin going through a sweater. So then when you see the end result, you're like, okay, ain't no way we're topping this. And because we just had such a brutal death scene, I still don't know what the hell they're going on with that. You don't expect her to get shot, and then she does. Life is just getting taken just like that, and what the hell happens to Geto? Is this the turning point in his character to go to the dark side? I don't know, but I'm ready, if not scared, to see more. Everyone knows this is going to be a talked about episode, and I think rightfully so. I gotta know, what the hell are you feeling? Like, my heart's still pounding a mile a minute, man, but let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more Jujutsu Kaisen to the channel. Like I mentioned, full live reaction to this bad boy is available on my Patreon, and hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Rion, Dylan Miles, Edray Zahari, and Eleanor Bailey Tufts, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.